Hello, everybody. We welcome you in. This is another edition of Inside Boxing Live. We are powered by ppv.com, the worldwide leader in pay-per-view events. Can't wait to get back on the road starting February 1st with Benavidez and Morrell, Tank Davis, Lamont Roach. Canelo Alvarez will surely be in the mix on ppv.com. Our beautiful, wonderful presenting sponsors that have been riding with us all year long. As we get towards the end of the year, Chris, and as we get towards the rematch of all rematches, reignited Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, just 6.5 months after their first fight, which was an absolute thriller. I'm really excited for this fight. I cannot wait. There's storylines galore. One of those episodes where you run to the microphone. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. I'm very excited for this fight as well. I was asked recently, is this fight still big? Should it have happened sooner? I'm like, no, this is still huge. This is still a big fight. Still really much looking forward to this fight, even more so than the first fight. First fight, obviously, big deal, but it lived up to the hype. The fan fight was fantastic. And now here we are. We've got the rematch, like you said, 6 months later, which is not a ton of time between big heavyweight rematches. So, this fight is still huge.
Are we being spoiled as boxing fans in this Saudi Arabian era that we're living in?
Yes, where Turkey is spoiling us, yes.
Where a rematch of this capacity may come 2 years down the road, may not come at all. Boxing fans are programmed to not even get a fight like this, number one. Number two, the rematch, Wilder-Fury rematch happened 18 months, could be wrong, even more. 2 years? 2020, don't quote me on that. It took a long time. There was multiple fights in between Fury, Wilder 1 and 2. We had no time in between. Same thing with Beterbiev and Bivol. No time for injuries, no time for attrition, no time for Fury to go into the bar, no time for them to get old. They might get old overnight, but that's what I love about this. That's what makes it different than a lot of rematches. You got your hand raised. Go ahead, Christopher.
I saw some video. Tyson did make time for the bar. I remember seeing some video of him not too long ago. He made some time.
Stumbling?
Yeah. He made
Looking like
time.
round 9?
He made some time.
Looking like round 9. I rewatched the fight yesterday in all its majesty on the Turkey Al Sheikh YouTube page. 15 million views on that sucker.
Wow.
That leads me to believe, whenever here, boxing's not doing good. Boxing's at 15 million views when it's made available. A fight that already happened. The ring walks were sick. And I guess we can start there with... Well, no, I want to start with some of the storylines. But I watched it again, and Fury was just bouncing all over that ring. I could not believe that 9th round. I could not believe Fury, the gamesmanship and all that stuff. And when he had the fight in control, which was such a silly move, and we'll see if he'll do that again. Leads to my first storyline, Chris, my first narrative here. Fury is all business this time around. He hasn't talked to his wife in 3 months, he says. Utter bullshit, number one.
Bullshit, yeah.
Complete bullshit. This guy is such a liar. I mean, it's part of his charm. He wants to retire Usyk. Pain, destruction. He came into the fighter workout, didn't throw a single punch, just said pain, destruction. This is all mind games that no longer work on us fans and no longer work on Usyk.
No, they never worked on Usyk. Usyk is the master manipulator when it comes to the mind games. I'm coming for you, Anthony. You can't beat that guy. He shows up as the assassin in for the press conference. Come on, man. You can't out gamesmanship for Usyk, man. This guy you can't get in that head. He looks like a crazy person. So if anybody could do it, it's Tyson, but he hasn't been able to do it. I think this is more for his own psyche than anything.
Yeah, I watched the first fight again, obviously, and the stare down with the referee giving the final instructions. Fury is doing that. He's dancing. He's putting his tongue out, and Usyk is stone faced. Mm-hmm. And in hindsight, I tweeted this out, and it's got a lot of traction. In hindsight, the fight was over right then and there, not because I understand it was a close fight, but the reason I said that was because no one was really giving Usyk a shot in that first fight. Even with Fury coming off of that pathetic performance against Ngannou, Fury not looking...
I did. I predicted he was going to win.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You had to be a little shocked yourself after watching that 9th round and how Usyk
I was shocked the way the whole fight went. I was shocked in every way. I didn't expect Tyson to be able to outbox Usyk so thoroughly like he did in those middle rounds. I also didn't expect that Usyk was going to have to literally pull one out of his back pocket and crack and hurt and nearly stop. That's the closest Fury's ever been to being stopped. He's been dropped hard by a bunch of guys, but he never got hit with a bunch of punches like that. He's never been on the verge of the refs coming in and stopping the fight. So that was a whole new experience all around. And then the fact that Tyson came back in the 12th round, was outboxing again. I mean, it was every aspect of that fight was a surprise to me.
That's what I mean. That's when I said this fight, in hindsight, it was a mental thing for Usyk. It was a mental hurdle. And everyone out there, hindsight is 2020. You can say, I knew Usyk was going to win. Okay. You didn't think it was going to happen like that. You did not. No. That 9th round could have been stopped. He was bouncing.
Every fight with Usyk is a mental thing, though. I think he just pushes your mental to the limit. I don't care who you look at. Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua literally had a psychotic break in the ring after the fight. Like, so that's what he does. He pushes you to the absolute mental, psychological limit. He's a master out there with the mind games for sure.
So the mind games, yes, the mind games from Fury, I don't think are working. No. It's over. His cloak of invincibility was taken away in that first fight. I don't care what you say about it. The guy was handed a loss. He should have lost a few times early on in his career, especially the Ngannou fight. Maybe it should have been a loss, but he didn't look great in there. But him getting that first official loss, I think, is a big thing. Not only that, Chris, I just feel like Fury's best days are behind him. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Father Time has caught up to the guy. He's been in wars, a lot of mileage, a lot of stuff.
Listen, the Usyk fight was a war. He got hit a lot. He got hurt. That takes fights and years off of you getting in fights like that. That was not an easy fight. That was a grueling 12-round fight that he got hurt really badly, had to get up off the canvas. Being that big, getting up off the canvas is not easy. So that fight adds mileage right away, straight away.
They always say, like, you can answer this. With the gloves on, how hard is it to get up off the canvas with the gloves on?
I'm not a heavyweight. It's a little different. And the gloves don't matter. No, I probably if you have a well-fitted glove, depending on what brand you use, a lot of them are you can really open them up. Because I used to open my hands up a lot so I'd have more guard. But also you can grab things. I can grab water bottles with my gloves on. I can grab the rope. Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
So what was your hand like in the glove? This is such a weird question.
So they have a curvature, a natural curvature to them, but I would always work my gloves so I was able to move them quite easily. So the padding would shift and I was able to open my gloves up because I wanted as much padding as possible. So I would open my glove up like 5 fingers to when I would block shots. So I would have that.
But then you could fist as well?
And then also be able to squeeze and roll the fist.
In my mind, I'm thinking fist the whole time.
No. So there's actually it's almost like a bar that you're able to wrap your fingers around, but also you've got your wraps on too. You have a lot more maneuvering with your hands and fingers than you would think.
I did not know that.
Dude, we got to think boxers, we do a lot of strength work. Our fingers and hands are strong. So we're able to move those tight leather gloves with the padding and all that wrap. There's a lot of maneuvering. Look at Tyson Fury. There was that controversy that he was opening his glove up when he was smacking Wilder, right? You see how much play he had with the glove? You can have a lot of play within your glove. You can grab ropes with them. You can pull yourself up if you are hurt. That's not really an issue. The big issue that I'm bringing up in terms of guys who are 280 pounds getting up off the canvas is hard, especially when you're rocked.
Yeah, that 9th round.
Knee injuries. Dude, when guys go down, you lose body control and you end up in positions that your body doesn't want to be in. You bang you blow out your knee, you hurt your ankle. These kind of things happen. And when you're bigger, and especially the way you're built like Tyson is such an odd body. He's kind of like a snowman on stilts. He's kind of it's like very easy for him. Yeah, like a bag of, I can really see him falling in weird positions and hurting his knees or his ankles. He never has. But not an easy body type to get up off the canvas. And he's done it a ton of times.
Yeah, I'm just getting a kick out of him this week. And these mind games and these things maybe have worked years ago. But I think fans are a little fatigued with them. That's Fury fatigue. I think fans are a little like really, bro? Like, you haven't talked to your wife in 3 months. Like, why are you lying? Like remember when he said he was going to donate his entire purse from Wilder to some homeless guy? He lied about that. He just tells these fibs, and like I said, it's part of his tall tales. It's part of his charm, part of it being a gypsy, part of the Fury experience. But I think the Fury experience took a major hit in the Ngannou fight, and it took a mega hit in the Usyk fight when he lost. And I think that is in his mind. He can be beat. He can be beat again. Father Time is not on his side. Reflexes not on his side. But then again, he was winning that fight. That's why this fight is so hard to handicap.
Dude, handily. It's really like it's pretty amazing how well he was boxing and outboxing
shots.
Dude, uppercuts from the outside. I remember while I was watching it for a short stint, I was like, this isn't fair. He's too big. This isn't fair. Like, I'm watching someone who's just like toying with someone who can't get close to him. And then all of a sudden, bang, he rocks him. And it's like, all right, we're back.
Yeah, that's why when I said, in hindsight, this fight was over when it started, because that's how we thought the fight was going to play out. Like, we would always say, man, Usyk is so good. And man, he look what he did to Joshua, but Fury's just too big.
Yeah.
And Fury
too big,
still
too
has
good, too everything.
Too good. Exactly. And we saw that in rounds 4. First 1 through 3, I think Fury was on the back foot for some reason, and Usyk was winning those rounds early on. 4 through 7 is what Fury's going to want to do from 1 through 12 in the rematch. 4 through 7, Fury was pumping the jab. He was throwing to the body.
Dude, he bounced around like Muhammad Ali. It was incredible.
Bro, he was landing some like vicious body shots, thunderous punches where, you could hear them. And they were like thudding, and they were, visibly hurting Usyk. Mm-hmm. And then he just abandons it on one side. I don't want to take away too much credit from Usyk. Fury abandons his game plan, but Usyk steps on the gas and does Usyk things and figures something out. Was in your opinion, was it more of Fury changing it up, Fury getting bored, Fury getting tired? Or was it something that you saw that Usyk did, an adjustment after getting pounded from rounds 4 through 7?
It's the easy answer to say, it was a combination of all those things. It was Fury having too much fun. It was Fury starting to gas out. It was a touch of Usyk figuring him out. I'm going to go with it was Usyk making an adjustment, because we've seen him do that so many times. We haven't seen Fury get tired. We haven't, and he fought a beautiful round in round 12. So I'm gonna take away the gas tank. We haven't seen Fury lose so much focus that he loses fights, because when he kind of like has fun and starts playing, he's usually dominating people and continues to dominate people. When he's rolling on the ropes against Suarez, when he's doing these crazy maneuvers, he's normally dominating people. And yes, he was in a position to start dominating. But if that was anybody else other than Oleksandr Usyk, I think Fury runs away with it, maybe even stops him. Because once he starts having fun, dude, he's in that flow state. He's a different guy. That athleticism for such a giant man, and his skill set and his ability to grow even with his own mental psychology. I think the mind games are more for Fury than anything. He's getting himself psyched up. So normally when he gets in that flow, the game is over. But with Usyk, he always has this secret gear. It doesn't matter what gear he's in. He could be in his fastest gear, and then all of a sudden he finds another one. We saw that in the Anthony Joshua fights, where it was like he looked like he was in trouble late, and then boom, he comes out and he starts beating up Anthony like it's his little brother. The guy is just something special. He just always figures out another gear, another wrinkle, and I think he just did that last time out.
Well, even going back to like the Bellew fight or the Briedis fight, or power late is something that Usyk has. 10th round on, he is like a closer. He's like closer, in basketball. Good word. Clutch. He's clutch. He's in basketball, you want the ball in his hand. In
Coffee's
baseball,
only for closers, and Usyk, man, he can have all the coffee he wants.
Movie
reference, guys. Who gets that one?
Glengarry Glenn Ross. Put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers. That's Usyk, bro. He's the clutch. Usyk. He's the guy you want with the ball. You want the ball in his hand in crunch time. You want the ball in his hand with in the 9th inning with bases loaded, and he's on the mound. He's that clutch and he's that good. And he is 37, but he is he has less mileage than Fury. And I'm not about to underestimate him. I feel like I've underestimated him every single time. And watch, he'll go and lose now that I'm probably leaning towards Usyk. There's some factors in play here that we'll talk about in a second. But another narrative here, Chris, is Usyk is going to start off the first round like the 12th round ended, blasting away. I don't know if I 100% believe that.
Who said
narrative.
that?
I just came up with it myself. It's a self-made narrative.
Okay.
Like, well, you've heard that. You've heard that in boxing, like, oh, this is going to be the 13th round. So if this is the 13th round, it's going to start with Usyk kind of having his way with Fury, where I don't think it's going to start like that. I think it's going to start with Fury looking like rounds 4 through 7, or it should for him.
These guys are way too classy for that. This is not Gotti Ward, guys. This is really high level, boxing chess. they're not just going to pick up. There's going to be some fencing early on. There's going to be some push and pull. There's going to be trying to maneuver. This is chess, guys. It's going to be, the pawns are going to be at work early on with these guys. And then it's probably going to start faster than the last time, but I still think there's going to be a period early on where we're trying to figure out who's going to take position, because it's a big positioning battle, this matchup. And I mean, every fight is, but this one more than most, because of the differences in stature, the differences in what each guy wants to do and where they want the fight to be fought. So I would imagine a lot of posturing early on, a lot of fencing for position. So thinking this is going to go right into round 13, I think you're dumbing down how good these guys are by thinking that.
Right. It's a theory with rematches. It's a theory out there. There's a lot of theories with rematches. I heard or saw some tweets earlier in the week, saw some stories written about how Fury is the master of rematches. This is his third rematch. He beat John McDermott twice. He beat Derek Chisora twice. He beat Deontay Wilder arguably 3 times. No offense to any of those guys. Neither of them, none of them, I should say, none of them are Alexander Usyk. And Usyk is great in rematches. Yeah,
that's another thing. It's like you're making these comparisons like, wow, Fury's a master of rematches. Hey, look at the guy across the way. He's pretty damn good at them too. And also, like, I always think about that Anthony Joshua rematch where I thought Anthony Joshua put on a really good performance in the rematch. He came out much better, much improved, better game plan. And still Usyk found another gear and was able to stay ahead and close the show, because he's a closer, just like you said. So, I think all the characterizations you make for either one of these guys, it's like it kind of all goes out the window because they're fighting each other. They're both so damn good, and they're such high level, high performing athletes that I think any of those comparisons, it's really just going to strip it all away. And it's like, guys, I think we're just coming down to intangibles once again. Like, this is that kind of matchup, and that's why it's so cool.
Yeah, love this. Turkey is a key figure in this fight.
Key.
He's key for making it. He's key for this fourth judge that we'll talk about in a little bit. I don't know if you saw this. There's like a promotional video that ran on social media, and it's Turkey firing up the FaceTime, getting Fury on FaceTime, and Fury, I love you. I love you. It was so crazy, man. It was like, I want you. He pretty much said, I want you to win. Like, no dancing around this time. End the fight. And so then he gets Usyk on the call. We need to get Usyk on this call. Brings Usyk on. Starts saying to Fury, you need to end this. No dancing this time. End the fight when you should. In front of Usyk. And like, it was so bizarre. It was crazy. Like, it was just openly pulling for Fury, and I'm seeing some fan sentiment, and I'm seeing some other things. It's like, it's a business. We know this in boxing. Like, who does it favor to win this fight in terms of Saudi, in terms of Riyadh season? Tyson Fury.
No question, Dan. It's Tyson Fury. and I hate saying certain things. I hate using the word fix. But we were joking off air, and I was like, the fix is in. We need Fury to win. The fix is in. We need Fury to win. Because, I mean, that's the sentiment from everything that you're saying. And listen, even myself, being selfish and what I want to see moving forward as a boxing fan, yes, I want Fury to win too. Because there's an opportunity for the trilogy, right? And then we get a rubber match. Now we actually have a trilogy, especially if the fight's really good. Fury wins this fight and it's really good. Boom, we get an opportunity for a trilogy. Boom, now it becomes that much more epic because right now it's still one of the best heavyweight fights of recent memory. You make it a three-way. I mean, come on, it's that much bigger and that much more historic. So from a boxing fan perspective, yes, I want Fury to win for that reason. But also, I still want Fury Joshua. I know. Slap me in the face. Call me an idiot. I still think it's a humongous event. I think that where they're at, it can still be a good fight for as long as it lasts. But in terms of the event, I mean, how do you get bigger than that? And then on the flip coin, Dan, you think if Usyk wins, there's no need for a rubber match. So boom, that ends this potential historic trilogy. Nobody cares to see Joshua and Usyk again. Do we really want to see Dubois and Usyk? I don't know. Maybe a little. I know they already fought. I actually would like to see Fury and Dubois. That fight is interesting to me. I think that could be, see how we can deal with that kind of power at this stage where he's been a little chinny lately. But yeah, I don't know. After this, there's nothing for Usyk to really do except retire. And that's cool. We're going to get someone who's going to be literally considered one of the best fighters who's ever lived. But it doesn't open the door for a lot of other opportunities. So yes, in terms of who does the boxing world favor or want to win or is hoping would win? Yeah, it's Tyson Fury. Not saying the fix is in. I was just saying I was making a joke about something that rhymed. I'm not a very good rhymer.
The fix is not in, as far as we know. But go and watch that video. It was a little strange. But if you take away that, and you don't need that video to what you just said, like you just laid it all out perfectly. Yeah. Like you don't need the fix to be in to understand that the better fights and the more exciting fights, or is if Fury wins. If Fury wins, we get. I still think we get Fury Joshua no matter what, but it has way more juice if Fury wins. There's no doubt about that. So that was that. How about this? John Fury, father of Tyson Fury, will not be in the corner this time around. I don't think he should ever be in the corner again. Remember last time? Pure very chaos.
Yep,
chaos in the corner.
Too many coaches,
of Fury.
Too many names, too many voices. Too many chiefs in the teepee. It was chaos, and I think Tyson is one of those guys who kind of flourishes on chaos, but in this kind of fight where it really comes down to a lot of psychological, a lot of mental, a lot of discipline. I don't know if that was the most positive thing. So I think this is a good move. There's a lot of things that are like behind the scenes that could play a big part. Do you know about all the stuff Andy Lee was saying regarding the last fight? So Andy Lee was saying that, the reason that Tyson, kind of fell off a little bit in the second half of the fight was because he couldn't get a lot of sparring because of the cut, which postponed the first fight. So he's a different guy now. Now he's gotten the sparring and he's gotten a full training camp. He was in shape last time. He's not saying he wasn't in shape, but some of that gas tank issue that he had late on was because he didn't get a ton of sparring in between when he was cut and the fight actually happened, which, listen, when you listen to that, you're like, that actually makes a lot of sense. That really does make a lot of sense. And if that's true, which again, you got to say whatever you can in, coming into the rematch, that's true. That can change your mind about things quite a bit. There's a reason that I don't know, what is your finger to the pulse out there, Dan? I'm feeling like a lot of people are predicting Tyson wins this fight. I know we're not getting into predictions, but I'm just saying,
it's very 50-50.
What's the wind? Which way is the wind blowing?
Very 50-50. Like there are people out there that are
okay, good,
buying into the Fury, like his whole fight week demeanor. There are people buying into what you just said. There are people buying into a lot. There are also people that are just like, listen, Usyk beats Fury, 9 out of 10 times, which is kind of crazy. Or people are just done doubting Usyk. People just think Usyk has Fury's number. People think Fury is just done, which I tend to believe. It's a really hard fight to pick. There's so many factors here. But no John Fury at all. Like not even like here, not even there in Riyadh. Last time he was headbutting a civilian teenager. It was chaos. The last fight was chaos from the minute that guy showed up. It always is chaos with that guy. Fight in the corner. You have Sugar Hill Stewart and Andy Lee. I mean, you can make an argument that's one of the best corners you can get.
Yes.
And then you have his dad shouting complete nonsense, gibberish. And Fury, he's going to listen to his dad. I mean, you hear your dad's voice. Your dad's voice should be one of the strongest.
It's going to cut through the arena. Exactly. So Dan, from a fighter's perspective, that's funny. There's certain voices when you're fighting. We're really good at blocking out the crowd. If you fought in big shows and if you've been a main event guy for a long time, if you fought in massive arenas and you fought in front of tens of thousands of people, you're really good at blocking out outside noise. But there are always voices that cut through the crowds, and you can always I could always hear my brother. It didn't matter if I was in front of 1,000 people or 20,000 people, and everybody's going crazy. I would always that voice would just pierce through. There's no way Tyson doesn't hear his dad. His dad has been such a massive influence in his life and his boxing career. There's no way he doesn't hear that guy cutting through. And a lot of times, there's only so much you can hear. There's only so much you can process. The processing speed of a fight is wild. The amount of the amount of outside stimuli that's happening and what you're allowed to accept in. So you don't want someone blocking out what other people can be saying, and that could be an issue, especially at this level.
Well, I think it's a net positive that he's not there.
Yeah, agreed. The guy's a walking tornado.
He's out of control. Like he's now.
I love him. I want to watch him do his laundry. But I mean, but for fight night, in terms of the fighter, I want the fighter to be best prepared.
Yeah, you can just watch him on Keeping Up with the Furies on Netflix. You don't want him in your corner necessarily. Went back and watched the first fight. Like I said, Usyk I thought won the first 3 rounds. Fury, the 4 through 7. Fury was fighting that perfect fight through 6. Boxing, big shots, controlling everything. Second half, Usyk steps on the gas, finds something, gets his head off the line, starts firing that left, going to the body,
cutting angles. He was going to the body early, but yeah, he was starting to get more consistency in those later rounds.
What's really cool about Usyk being a lefty, I love southpaws, and he does this thing with what is.
That's because you're not a fighter, Dan. If you're every fighter hates southpaws. So
I just like being a lefty. I'm a lefty myself. I like watching lefties fight. Him shifting his body to the right, and then firing in that left down the middle
to the weak side. We've done videos on that.
Beautiful, so beautiful. It's such a shot that is just must be hell to deal with. Fury just could knock it out of the way of it. We'll see how many times Usyk can do that.
Coach Andre Rosarius always call that staying invisible when you're going out to the weak side. So the weak side is going outside someone's front foot. So if you're orthodox versus southpaw position, the weak side is always going to be toward the outside of your front foot. So for a southpaw, that means you're going. For an orthodox, that means you're going out to your right, which is their lead left foot. So you're staying to the weak side, and you're staying invisible by being outside of their punching zone, which is in between your feet. So it's a brilliant tactic that he's able to always stay invisible, stay outside that foot, but also keep you within his punch range and punch zone, where he's able to fire that left hand down the middle so well.
It's beautiful, and he was doing that in those those early rounds and then late.
He gets that
some
little
stats and trends.
Motion slides. Bing.
Oh, it's awesome. It's beautiful to watch. Fury threw 30 jabs a round in rounds 1 through 6. That is a great pace.
Yeah.
That is why he was winning. Rounds 7 through 12, Fury, half of that, 15 thrown around. Where did the jab go for Fury?
Well, it could be one thing that you just said. You started to see Usyk staying to that weak side and staying invisible and not standing in front of him to get hit. 2, he's worried about what's coming back at him, because a couple of those rounds he was hurt pretty bad. So he had to, kind of gather himself. And a lot of times it's very difficult to go back to your jab when you got a guy who's pouring it on and you're a little wobbled. So a lot of times you then go to power punches and go to physical, be more physical, using your size and your strength to try and survive. So the jab kind of goes out the window at that point. But once you steady the ship, you get back on that jab, which Tyson certainly did.
I expect Fury to come out pumping that jab. 30 a round should be his goal.
Dude, that's a lot of jabs. 30
a
round,
lot of
that's
rounds.
awesome.
30, that's like the standard. That's a very good number. Half of that is not good in round 7 to 12. So maybe he can live somewhere in the middle of that. Usyk's 170 landed punches were the most ever on a Tyson Fury opponent in all the fights tracked by CompuBox. So Usyk found a home for Fury. On Fury, I should say. Fury got hit a lot. This guy, for a while, we were talking about how a defensive wizard that he was. He's not that defensive guy anymore. Father Time catches up to everyone. He can't feint like he used to. I forgot who it was. Someone went back and counted his feints, which I think is pretty cool.
I think it was Bell. I think it was Carl Froch you had mentioned had brought that up.
And he's like, this guy was feinted like 40 times around in his prime. Now, lucky to get 10. Mm-hmm. He's a stationary target, and Usyk found him. Like he's still moving. Like he's still hard to hit, but like Usyk found him, and you can't turn that around. I don't think.
No, we keep talking about Father Time. I mean, both these guys are older. They're both over 35. I think Tyson's 36 and Usyk's 37. But Usyk has taken a lot less damage, obviously. Fury's been down quite a bit. He's fought some really big punchers. He's been in some wars. But in between those, he really didn't get hit much. You mentioned his defense, and a lot of that is just his physicality, his size, getting close to him. It's pretty amazing that one of the smallest heavyweights he's ever fought is the one that's gotten to him the most. But actually, I guess if you think Cunningham dropped him, Cunningham was a super small heavyweight, and he was able to drop Tyson. So Tyson actually probably does better with bigger guys who punch less. But Usyk is the exact opposite of that. Smaller guy who punches a ton, and which is why he was the closest ever stopping him, because he got hit so much. And I remember when I fought Errol Spence, people were like, man, you went the distance with Provodnikov and Pacquiao, but Spence stopped you. Like, he must hit so hard. I'm like, no, he actually doesn't hit as hard as either one of those guys. He just hit me a lot. Those other two really couldn't put their hands on me consistently. So I was able to survive. But with Spence, he made the ring really small. I couldn't get away, and he threw a ton of punches. So I got hit a lot. So that's the difference between and a southpaw. So is Pacquiao, but also, but that's kind of the thing with Tyson now. I think you got a Wilder guy who can, a puncher like Wilder who can put you away with a single shot. Doesn't throw a ton of punches. A little easier to deal with. Yeah, you stay away from that big shot, you survive. But this guy like Usyk, who's all over you and climbs you like a tree, starts slow and bing, 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 cuts angles, makes you miss, and he's got a gas tank for days. Very different proposition.
Yeah, Fury landed 46 body shots. That's not enough. You want to slow down Usyk. You want him to not be a closer. You want to slow, especially in those 10th rounds. I remember our friend Teddy Atlas, put water in the basement.
Put water in the basement.
So Fury put some water in that basement early. 46 body shots. In comparison, Usyk landed a career high 70. 70 body shots. Usyk landed in the
first round. He came out and threw in a hard straight left hand to the body. I mean, I was like really surprised at how easily he was able to land that right away.
I think Fury, two keys. I'm not breaking the mold here. Fury's two keys: jab, body work. Jab, body work. We'll see if that happens for Usyk. He's just going to do what he does. I mean, he threw a lot of punches in that first fight. He landed a lot, the most ever on Fury. A lot of power in there, mixed it up really nice. We're always going to see that from Usyk. The guy is
and time the uppercut.
Because, for Fury, right?
Yes, we mentioned that Usyk has that tick-tock motion. He'll dip to the inside and then dip to the outside as he slides, and he stays invisible. Dip, dip. If you can catch him on that pendulum head movement, and catch him in the middle of that, which Tyson started to get. You landed some really nasty uppercuts. Because there are times where Usyk will be a little over that front foot, and he's there for the uppercuts, which is a really good weapon for Tyson in the first fight. He didn't land enough of them, but landed a good amount and actually did some damage with them. So another thing is the body shots will make a guy start to bend over more and more. You start digging them guts. Their elbows start to come in. They start to crouch. They start to come forward, puts the head in front of their feet. That uppercut becomes a really good weapon. If you think about it, all good, consistent body punchers have a good uppercut too. Think about Chavez. Chavez would bust you in the guts, and then he'd rip uppercuts. Break your nose, bust your chin. So that move, that weapon, could be a really good tactic and move for Tyson if he's able to get to the body and keep the distance with the jab.
Let's head over to the judges. I usually don't do any research on judges, but
you should start doing that more often. I think.
I know. I'm interested now. I felt compelled. I realized BoxRec, unbelievable service, gives you a page for every judge out there. The fights that they've judged. This is interesting because this is a high-profile fight. I think it's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a close fight. So therefore, let's have our best judges. Not taking anything away from these three gentlemen here. I just don't really think of them as
any recognizable names.
Judges, yeah. One of the fellas is Fernando Barbosa, who works for ESPN Knockout, ESPN Latino. You see him on Twitter all the time. I knew he was a judge. I didn't know how active he was. You've definitely seen this guy ringside. His last fight that he judged was Rigondeaux versus Arias, which was November of this year. Going down his resume, Michael Hunter versus Cassius Chaney. Not a big fight. I was in Florida. I'm not saying he's a bad judge, but he doesn't have big fight experience. How did they come up with these three judges? I just don't understand how that. I'm going down his list. I'm not seeing any big fights on his ledger. Another name is Gerardo Martinez out of Puerto Rico. Going down his list, Mark Castro versus Quintana, which was last week. I don't know, who did he have? He had Quintana, so he got that one correct. Henry LeBron, mostly judges in Puerto Rico. In fact, all of his fights that this man has been in Puerto Rico. One in Mexico. Active though, I'll give him that. He's judged a lot of fights in 2024. And then lastly, is a judge by the name of Roberto Ramirez Jr. from Puerto Rico as well. Judge Zhu Can, who fought last week, apparently. Did not know that. But once again, a theme here is like no big fights.
Yeah,
on none of these guys.
Very odd.
Like where does it? How does it come up with it? I know they use like a different commission out there. They got the whole Saudi thing going.
Let me play devil's advocate here, right? So I'm thinking worst case, there's corruption involved. Is it better to have a judge who's been in this corrupt sport for a very long time and be busy and doing a lot of big fights, or is it better to have someone who's kind of fresh and new that isn't bought yet? I don't know.
Or,
I'm poking the bear here.
Or is it better to have an AI judge?
Look at that. Look at that segue, Dan. Wow.
A robot. Not a robot. There will be a robot roaming through Riyadh.
There's a Terminator going to be sitting ringside.
It's going to be wearing a judge outfit. It's going to have the fake hair, like the white powdered hair. It's going to be a robot that just is fed.
Just like a titanium steel face with teeth.
Yes. If you have not heard,
Skynet
they
is
are
involved.
using... Saudi is experimenting with a fourth AI judge for Fury versus Usyk. It will not be used to score the fight. It is an experiment. It is a trial run, and
I think that's
have
pretty
my
cool.
opinions on it.
I think it's pretty cool.
I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on it. I
think
mean,
it's
they're
pretty
feeding
cool.
it. They're feeding it information. It's going to be based on aggression. It's going to be based on punches thrown, punches landed, which my issue lies there. Ring generalship, a whole sorts of things. I understand we're the infancy of AI, and I understand it's coming for all of our jobs. Like our days are numbered, guys.
Not ours. They can't do this. You can't do this.
Probably do it better.
Can't do this.
Probably do it better.
No way.
Probably do it better.
No.
Never say never.
Is the AI going to be able to make people laugh? Are they going to be able to rattle off movie references? I don't think so.
Probably not. I hope not, because then I'm shit out of luck. But these AI judges will be fed information, and then I guess they come up with a winner. I'm very, very fascinated by it.
Me too. That's why I think it's cool. I don't think it's a good thing, but I think it's cool.
For like you can corrupt these things. You can feed it whatever you want it to feed it.
So we have corrupted every AI that's ever been involved. You used to ask like ChatGPT to to show a Roman emperor, and it had like gay African guys. It was like, where'd that come from? Because of who's programming the thing, who's putting in the information. Like you said, you're pumping in the information. Exactly. And it's a person, a corruptible person. I don't know how to make it not corrupt. I mean, we can't even make people not corrupt. So I don't know how we're going to make robots.
Is it easier to corrupt a robot? Is it easier to corrupt the person fixing the AI or a judge?
I don't know, because even because biases are a kind of thing, like they're under the surface a lot of times.
Yeah, let's get past the corruption. I don't want to spend too much time on it. How about just biases?
Yeah, that's ultimately what we're talking about. It's easy to call it corruption, and and everyone thinks, oh, boxing's such a dirty sport. I really don't think it's that. I don't think it's that corrupt. But I do 100% believe that biases play a big role. And the thing about bias, it's insidious. Like you're not even aware it's there. And listen, I used to do it early in my career. Like I'd be calling like a Joe Smith fight, and I'm like, I know Joe. I would love for Joe to win, but I have to be fair and unbiased. And oftentimes I would be told by other people that I was going the other way, and I was being
trying
more
to make
harsh.
up for it.
Yeah, being more harsh, and that's where the bias can have an effect in multiple different directions. And that's what I mean by it being insidious. Even though it's not by design, it shows up. And in fights that are super, super, super close, it really matters, and it has a big effect. And even when you're just programming said AI, if you have some inherent insidious bias, it's going to show up in how you program certain things.
Well, let me just say this: like my biggest issue with it, my biggest skepticism lies with. I think the nuts and bolts of it are going to be punches thrown and punches landed, because that's the biggest part of boxing, or it should be the biggest part of the scoring criteria. Clean, hard punches.
Yeah, I mean that's what we always kind of talk about. But
yes.
But the problem is when that stuff is even, and you have to go to like the next stage of deciphering who's ahead. How is the AI going to understand ring generalship?
I don't know. That's what I'm curious. I want to know a lot more about this. We were just one little 1 minute video with some bells and whistles.
But like, dude, you can win rounds on body language. I hate to use the word, but you can win rounds on vibe. You're out there and you just got a vibe going, and you've got a flow going. You've got some energy. If things aren't really landing, I think we think of Bernard Hopkins. The guy would throw so few punches around, yet he would win every round. He'd win these rounds by not landing a ton, but he would be sidestepping, he'd be feinting, he'd be positioning, he'd be out angling, he'd be out maneuvering, and be able to pick up rounds. If you're not a seasoned judge, you're not seeing that. And I don't know how an AI could pick that up anytime soon.
That's why I believe there should be like both. Like it should be human element and AI. Like
I think this should just be a test. That's it.
Yeah,
just be a test. It doesn't affect. I'm fine with that. That's why I think it's cool.
It's a little scary, but it should be both. It should be a hybrid. It should be human and robot, human and AI. Like
the AI should be a tool, similar to how CompuBox is. CompuBox is a tool. CompuBox does not score rounds, guys. We don't, and judges don't have access to CompuBox numbers.
Well,
it's a tool.
That's what I was getting at. Is like the numbers, great. We love the numbers. Obviously, my dad based the whole 40 years on it, and but from day one, we always said that they're never meant to score a fight. Judges don't see the numbers, but now the numbers are being plugged into this algorithm, and now they're becoming a heavy reason or a heavy way for these AI judges to score a fight. Like that's when it gets a little too much. I just got to see how much emphasis they use on the punches thrown and punches landed. Is that going to make up like 50% of who wins a round?
That's the thing that you to see the metrics and how it's actually going to be utilized to decipher who's ahead. Or there's so many questions. There's so many ways to do it too. That's the thing. It's so complicated. But I'll tell you this: regardless of however they manipulate the information or take the metrics or collect the data or analyze whatever, it's going to cause a lot of fights on Twitter. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it does it anyway.
Exactly. After the fight, when you've got a guy who clearly won or thought he won, and then he loses, but then AI thought he won, then it's going to be that much fodder for people to utilize to argue, because that happens with CopyBox quite a bit. I just remember that story you told me about Oscar De La Hoya. I landed 100 and something fucking punches.
Yeah, boxing is a sport where it's so subjective, where everything is going to argue everything.
So this isn't baseball, guys. Baseball's all numbers. Boxing is not.
I will say that it's going to be tough for them to pick up on certain things. Baseball is going to start using robot umps, but they're going to have human umps as well. There's going to be kind of both. So I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how far we'll go. It'll be interesting to see. Part of me thinks this is Turkey trying to introduce something. He's very gung-ho about, taking boxing into the next level, whether it's AI judges, whether it's, I don't know, we're buying Ring
There's
Magazine.
No question this is going to be the future, though, Dan. Let's be honest.
Well, I'm not doubting that we can make it better. Like we're like literally in like the first chapter, the first couple pages of AI.
Technology moves fast, though, and unfortunately, there's going to be a dark era of this where things are not going to be that great, and it's still going to be utilized until it kind of gets figured out. So we're probably going to be entering that pretty soon.
Judging has been so bad, and fans are so out on judges and so done with it. And that was in the presentation of this video where it said boxing has been defined by almost bad scoring rather than best versus best, which I agree with. So a lot of fans are just like, can't be any worse than Adelaide Bird. Can't be any worse than Dr. Lou Moret. Can't be any worse than any judge. So we'll go with AI. So like the fans are so beat down and they're so done with human judges that we're welcoming in an AI judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fans are. I mean, you and I are not, but that's an unfortunate aspect of this, because
I can't wait to see what this thing does on Saturday. Does it? I can't. It's very fascinating. I hope they use it for better, Bivol. I want to know how they came up with it. I want to know a lot. It definitely will be something we talk about after the fight, unless there's a knockout, and then we won't. Let's get into the odds. Brought to you by DraftKings. Usyk is the -150 favorite. Fury is the +120 underdog. So Fury, slight underdog. It was a little bit closer in the first fight. These odds make sense. Usyk won. And if there is some value on Fury on the money line at +120. The over-under is set at 10.5 rounds. I tend to think that this fight is going distance. Usyk by KO, if you don't believe in that, +300. Usyk by decision, +170. A draw, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. Plus 1,400
Whoa.
for the draw.
That's
always the case.
That might be a good bet.
It's always the case. They always have the draw like that. Fury on points, which I think if Fury wins, that's how he's going to win. It's plus 350. That is some juicy value. Fury knockout, which Fury thinks is going to happen. Plus 300. Now it's when it gets interesting. Usyk or Fury to win in rounds 7 through 12. So if the ref waved off the first fight, and he could have easily done that round 9, plus 500 for either guy for a second half stoppage.
Wow.
And then I like that a lot. What I'm really looking at, though, is Usyk by split decision at plus 750. I've never once bet on like that narrow of a pick.
How the decision is going to be read.
Right. I usually pick decision or I pick money line.
It's a good bet too, though. Why are all these bets so good? That's crazy.
It's close. That's why, and a lot of these are likely to happen at least. But plus 750 is worth sprinkling a few dollars on for Usyk by split decision because the first fight was a split decision.
Right.
Like this fight's going to be close. I think we've come to an agreement with that. Usyk wins on 2 of the 3 cards. You're making some money, but the only thing is I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little scared. I'm a little nervous with the Fury.
You scary?
Favoritism.
Yeah. There definitely seems to be an air about that and of that. But not one good thing, or not even a good thing, but one thing to think about is that Usyk's going to be aware of that as well. This guy tends to figure out a way, and every time. Like the guy's undefeated for a reason.
Why are we doubting him?
That is the question. Because it's Tyson Fury. Because it's another guy that upsets the odds and is able to do amazing things consistently. So but again, this is why this fight, everything we just said, this is a really good fight, and it's we got these crazy good bets and lines because it's a hard fight to pick. It can go a lot of ways.
If I was the betting man, I'm looking at that split decision one.
Yeah, that's a hard one to pass up.
And Fury on points is plus 350, which is great.
Good one too.
Great numbers too. What do our listeners think? Let's take a listen. What do our listeners think?
Oh, look at that!
What do they think is going to win?
What's up, Dan and Chris? This is John in Houston. Love the show and love your work. So last fight, I picked Fury to win. I thought that he had enough to finally test Usyk's chin. Was not surprised at all by the result, but this time I would still stick with Fury. Just hearing some of the press coming out of Saudi Arabia, it sounds like they want to keep doing business with Fury. I'm not sure what else Usyk has to conquer. Going into this, it sounds like Fury is already up a few rounds. That said, won't be surprised at all to see if Usyk emerge victorious again, and I'm looking forward to hear what you guys have to say about it. Thanks.
He nailed that one. Nailed that one,
bro.
That's hard to argue with that.
Pays attention.
I'm glad that he said all that because then we don't have to. Because we did, but like I second all of that. That's well put, and we're not just making things up because that is the vibe that's getting put out.
It is. I mean, the boxing fan, it all goes into the sauce. If you're a boxing gambler, you have to think about all these things. It's different than any other sport. In football, baseball, basketball, are you thinking about corruption? Are you thinking about what's better for the sport?
Unless you're one of those people who think that the NFL is scripted like WWE.
Yeah, but it's not like this. It's not like a singular event. Like, right? I agree. Some of it is like Super Bowls and stuff like that to a certain extent. But like, come on, let's get into another one here.
Hey, Chris, Dan, Perry here. My pick for this upcoming fight between Usyk Fury is Usyk by stoppage. My last pick was Usyk by decision. I just think Usyk knows how to efficiently manage the pace, and he's going to be inching forward, not loading up with shots, and slowly tiring Tyson out. I just think Tyson's punch resistance is gone. In addition, Usyk reminds me of Beterbiev. He stays calm under pressure, and he never loses his focus in his endgame. Fury, on the other hand, I don't think he's lived a life being drunk in bars, falling outside of bars. I just think that's catching up to him. I got Usyk by knockout. Thanks.
Perry, Usyk knockout.
Good points made. Really
That
good
would be
points
nuts.
made.
If Usyk can finish the job in a demonstrative way, crown the man. Crown him
Yeah.
as one of the best heavyweights to ever roam this earth.
Yep. Yep. I mean, and in terms of accomplishments, he's one of the most accomplished fighters of all time.
Undisputed at heavyweight and cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight.
Beat Joshua and Fury.
Well,
Four times.
I had the records up, and I'm just looking at Usyk's last 3 fights: Fury, Dubois, Joshua. That's
Sick.
crazy.
He's
That
sick.
is so crazy.
He's never
And
going to
he
get
goes
credit for the Dubois win, though.
Yeah, but in hindsight, that's a crazy win.
It's aging very nice.
Oh, it's beautifully. But also, if he does what my man just said and then stops Fury, he's got a stoppage of Fury. He's got a fight of the year style fight with Fury. He beats Dubois, who I think is going to run on to be a really good fighter and champion for a long time. He beat Anthony Joshua, who's also a tremendous heavyweight of recent generation. Forget it.
And everything he did at cruiserweight.
Yes.
All right, this one would be crazy if this happens.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Dan. All right, folks, buckle up, because I'm about to give y'all a crazy prediction for Usyk-Fury 2.
He said,
Well, I got Usyk by late stoppage. And yeah, I know Fury's never been stopped, but there's a first time for everything. Picture this. It's late in the fight. Usyk, his pace, Fury's weight, all of that is working against him. He's gassed. Those rabbit punches Fury's throwing, it's getting sloppy, and bam, Usyk drops him. Left hook to the temple. His ancestors feel it. But here's the twist. Just as Usyk going to finish him, boom! Fan man incident number 2. Think from Evander Holyfield ready for number 2. Instead of a guy in a parachute, it's a drone dropping free Qurans or something like that. And the fight stops, and everyone in Riyadh goes crazy, reaching for the Qurans.
I love this
Wow.
guy. I love that guy. That was what's the line on that one, Dan?
Drones.
A million.
Drones
and one
are hot
drone?
right now in New Jersey.
He
Bro,
got the,
I had to
he
screen
got the
these
drones
calls.
in. He
I had
got
to
the
screen
drones
these
in.
calls, and I'm like eating breakfast as I'm playing that. I
Spitting out
burst into
cereal.
left. I just burst into. I wish I could hear it for the first time, like you just did. I burst into left. I was like, "Where is he going with this?" Drones.
That's awesome. Drones. He got the drones in. It's amazing.
If you get through the drones, he thinks that Usyk's going to stop Fury. There's a couple people out there that think that.
Yeah.
You know, they think round 9. The round 9 is sticking with them, staying in their heads.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can get a stoppage. It's time for our predictions. It is time for Inside Boxing Live's predictions for Usyk Fury 2. I'll start us off, Chris. I'm done going against Alexander Usyk. I've doubted this man way too many times. This could be the kiss of death for Alexander, but I believe he will come through this fight. I believe he is a closer once again. I do believe that Tyson Fury will come out on that front foot and jab and throw body shots and throw heavy leather early, a lot more focused. I believe that Fury has a lot to prove, but Father Time waits for no one. Tyson Fury can say everything he wants. I haven't talked to my wife in 3 months. I'm going to retire Alexander Usyk, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter. When you can't get out of the way of left hands, when you don't have the will anymore, when your legs don't work like they used to, you can't win fights at this level against an absolute machine in Alexander Usyk. I like Usyk by split decision, which you can get at plus 750 on DraftKings. Alexander Usyk, crown the man. Crown him.
I did an article which should be coming out probably some point today, might be out right now, on Algeri's School of Thought, talking about this fight and making my prediction. And it's funny, as I'm going through it, I'm like changing my mind because, you know, everyone knows me. I'm a flip-flopper. I think about all the things and it makes me kind of change my mind as I'm going. As you talk through these things, you get these different ideas. But at the end of the day, listen, Tyson Fury should win this fight. He on paper, in every way you look at this, Tyson Fury should win this fight. The fact that everyone thought he was going to win the fight the first time. He's too big. He's too athletic. Yeah, he hasn't looked great lately. Listen, he had his other reasons, whatever. But when he's on, the guy's unbeatable. And just the size is too much. His boxing ability, the style matchup, everything. Tyson Fury all day long. Then the fight happens. Obviously, whatever happens, happens. Very, very close fight. Tyson was able to box beautifully in parts of that fight, which I didn't think he was going to be able to outbox Usyk thoroughly as he did and make it look as easy as he did. I didn't think he was going to be able to hurt Usyk the way that he was able to hurt him, in some of those middle rounds. So like, you add that to everything that is Tyson Fury, and then you hear these things from Andy Lee that, yeah, but the last fight he really didn't get the sparring that he needed because of the cut. Cut was a real thing. We kind of forgot about that cut. We forgot about that big nasty cut that delayed the first fight. So that's, you look at that and you're like, hey man, if that's true and if that's realistic, which it is realistic. I'm not saying it's true. I don't know all that, but it's like, wow, that's a very realistic thought, man. Listen, Tyson could come in a whole different thing and make this fight almost easy and do 12 rounds of what he did in 4 through 7. So you look at all of that and you're like, yeah, man, this is Tyson's fight to win. And you mentioned the age. Tyson's younger than Fury. Tyson's younger than Usyk. So he's a year younger. It's like, Usyk's had a long career too. Amateur background, cruiserweight, moving up, fighting bigger guys. He hasn't taken that much damage, but these guys are so much bigger than him. So taking a glancing blow from Joshua is like taking a clean shot from cruiserweight. So you got to think about all these different things. And again, it's like, it's Fury, man. This is Fury's fight to win. But I'm going to go with my gut, just like I did the first time. And I'm going with Usyk. I think he wins a really close fight again. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a split decision or a majority decision, whatever. I'm not going to go that deep into it. I got Usyk money line, wins the fight. Close, super close fight. And I think he retires as one of the best heavyweights ever.
Well, I'm sorry, Usyk, because we both just picked you. So therefore, you won't
lose.
You're probably going to, Fury's going to have a virtuoso performance. He's going to turn back the hands of time. He's going to be bobbing, weaving. He might even stop Usyk. And then Joshua hops into the ring. Would not be surprised.
Generally, when me and you agree, we're both wrong.
Yeah. I would love to see Usyk get his hand raised. I would love to see Fury turn in an unbelievable performance. I'd love to see a third fight. I'd love to see Fury, Joshua. I'd love to see all the above. It's going to be an awesome fight. I cannot wait to see how it all plays out. Sit back and enjoy it. It's the last big fight of 2024. It's been a great year for boxing. Can't even believe we're getting this rematch at the end of the year. We're very, very blessed as boxing fans. The undercard, we didn't talk about it because it's not that good. Boachuk and Madrimov falling out really hurt the undercard. I do like Dempsey McKean versus Moses Atuma. I think Atuma is really good. There could be some bangers on there, but it's not the best undercard. But we have a main event that will captivate, hopefully, the sporting world like it did last time. College football playoff is going off at the same time. We're talking like it's a new layout. Do or die games in college football I'm going to have one TV on that. I'm going to have to fight on that. I'll probably go live. Going to be an awesome night, Chris. So I'm going with Usyk split decision. You're going Usyk money line. Should be a great one. Any final words for the fans out there?
No, I'm just, guys, be happy that we're getting these fights. This is a very exciting. We had a great year. Fantastic year of some fantastic fights that were hard to make, and now they've been made. So enjoy it while it lasts, people, because we don't know how long we're gonna have this. Because Dan and I, if you guys have been listeners for a number of years, we've gone through some droughts. We've gone through some droughts in the boxing world, and right now we are flush. So let's enjoy it while we got it.
Protect yourselves at all times. Keep your hands up at all times. Stay out of those DMs, everybody. Enjoy the fight.